This video provides an educational breakdown inspired by the books of Dr. Myles Munroe, particularly his work on leadership and personal purpose. Leadership isn't reserved for those with titles or corner offices. It's not about authority over others. It's about responsibility for yourself. The ideas we'll explore today challenge a common misconception that leaders are born, not made. Instead, we'll examine the principle that everyone carries the capacity to lead, starting with the territory of their own life. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll walk through the core concepts found in this transformative work, breaking down each idea with clarity and offering practical steps you can take immediately. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about discovering who you already are. Let's begin.
Chapter 1. The Crisis of Identity. Many people spend their entire lives answering the question, "What do you do?" Very few pause to ask, "Who am I?" There's a fundamental difference between the two. What you do can change with circumstances. A job ends, a role shifts, a season passes. But who you are remains constant, even when everything around you changes. The crisis many face isn't a lack of opportunity, it's a lack of identity. When your sense of self is built on external markers, your career, your relationship status, your achievements, you become fragile. Remove one pillar and the structure collapses. But when your identity is rooted in something deeper, something intrinsic, you become unshakable. Consider this. A young professional loses their job unexpectedly. If their entire identity was wrapped up in being the marketing manager, they don't just lose a position, they lose themselves. But if they understand their core identity as a creative problem solver, a communicator, someone who adds value through insight and strategy, the job loss becomes a transition, not a tragedy. This distinction matters because leadership begins with self-knowledge. You cannot lead others if you don't know who you are. You cannot inspire confidence if you're constantly seeking validation. You cannot make decisions aligned with your purpose if you've never defined that purpose. The path forward starts with a simple but profound question. Who am I apart from what I do, what I own, or what others think of me? Practical takeaway. This week, write down 3 qualities that define you independent of your job title, your relationships, or your accomplishments. These are your anchors.
Chapter 2. The Principle of Potential. Every seed contains a forest. Every acorn holds an oak. The principle of potential suggests that what you are now is only a fraction of what you contain. But here's the tension. Potential, by definition, is unrealized. It's dormant, it's waiting, and if left unattended, it remains exactly that, waiting. The graveyard, as the saying goes, is the richest place on earth, filled with books never written, businesses never launched, and talents never developed. Potential isn't about what you might become someday under perfect conditions. It's about what exists within you right now, waiting for intentional cultivation. The gardener doesn't create the flower, they create the conditions for it to emerge. Think of someone who discovers a talent late in life. Perhaps a mid-career accountant realizes they have a gift for teaching, or a stay-at-home parent uncovers a passion for writing. The gift was always there. What changed wasn't their capacity, it was their willingness to explore it. The danger is twofold. First, we underestimate what's within us, assuming our current reality defines our full capability. Second, we overestimate how much time we have, postponing action until someday. Someday is not a day of the week. Unlocking potential requires both awareness and action. Awareness asks, what have I left unexplored? Action asks, what small step can I take today? Practical takeaway. Identify one skill or interest you've been curious about but haven't pursued. Commit 15 minutes this week to exploring it. Read an article, watch a tutorial, or simply journal about why it intrigues you. Chapter 3. The Power of Vision. Vision is not daydreaming. It's not wishful thinking. Vision is the ability to see what doesn't yet exist and commit to bringing it into reality. Without vision, life becomes reactive. You respond to circumstances rather than create them. You drift rather than steer. Vision provides direction when the path is unclear and motivation when progress is slow. But vision must be more than vague desire. I want to be successful isn't vision, it's ambiguity. Vision is specific, it's vivid. It answers the question, what does the future look like when I've lived fully into my purpose? Consider an entrepreneur starting a business. If their vision is simply make money, they'll likely quit when challenges arise. But if their vision is create a company that helps underserved communities access quality education, they have something worth fighting for. The vision pulls them forward. Vision also acts as a filter. When opportunities arise, you can ask, does this align with where I'm going? If not, it's a distraction, no matter how appealing. Vision creates clarity in decision-making. Yet vision without action is hallucination. The gap between where you are and where you see yourself going must be bridged by daily disciplines, small commitments, and incremental progress. Vision charts the destination. Discipline builds the road. Practical takeaway. Write a one-paragraph description of your life 5 years from now. Be specific. Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you serving? And how do you feel? Read it weekly. Chapter 4. The Discipline of Character. Talent gets you noticed. Character keeps you standing. We live in a culture that celebrates skill, the brilliant strategist, the charismatic speaker, the creative genius. But skill without character is a house built on sand. When pressure comes, it collapses. Character is formed in the unseen moments. It's what you do when no one is watching. It's the promises you keep to yourself before you make them to others. It's integrity, consistency, and the willingness to do what's right even when it's costly. Think about a leader who achieves rapid success through shortcuts, bending rules, manipulating relationships, prioritizing results over people. For a while it works, but eventually the foundation cracks, trust erodes, relationships fracture. The collapse is often swift and total. Contrast that with someone who builds slowly, prioritizing honesty, accountability, and service. Their growth may be less dramatic, but it's sustainable. When challenges come, their character holds them steady. People trust them not because of what they've accomplished, but because of who they are. Character isn't built in crisis, it's revealed. It's built in the small daily choices, returning the phone call you'd rather avoid, admitting the mistake you could have hidden, honoring the commitment when you no longer feel like it. Leadership without character is manipulation. Influence without integrity is exploitation. But when character undergirds your vision and talent, you become someone worth following. Practical takeaway. Identify one area where you've been cutting corners, perhaps in your health, your relationships, or your work. Make one honest adjustment this week, no matter how small.
Chapter 5. The Responsibility of Stewardship. You don't own your gifts, you manage them. This shift in perspective changes everything. If you believe your talents, resources, and opportunities belong to you, you'll use them for personal gain. But if you understand yourself as a steward, someone entrusted with something valuable, you'll ask a different question. How can I use this well? Stewardship applies to time, money, relationships, influence, and ability. It's the recognition that you've been given something not for hoarding, but for multiplying. not for consumption, but for contribution. Consider a musician with extraordinary talent. If they see their gift as theirs alone, they might perform only when it's lucrative or convenient. But if they see themselves as a steward of that gift, they'll ask, how can this bring beauty, healing, or inspiration to others? The focus shifts from entitlement to responsibility. Stewardship also means caring for what's been entrusted to you. A leader who burns out their team isn't stewarding people well. An entrepreneur who neglects their health while building a business isn't stewarding their body. Stewardship requires balance, care, and long-term thinking. The ultimate question stewardship asks is this: when this season is over, will I have used what I was given well? Will I leave things better than I found them? Practical takeaway: choose one resource you have, time, money, a skill, or influence, and intentionally use it this week to benefit someone else, expecting nothing in return.
Chapter 6: The Legacy You Leave. Legacy isn't what you leave behind, it's what lives on through others. Too often we think of legacy in terms of monuments, buildings with our name, awards on a wall, financial inheritances. But the truest legacy is measured in transformation. Did you help someone discover their purpose? Did you model integrity when it was difficult? Did you invest in the growth of another person? Legacy is less about what you accumulate and more about what you activate in others. It's the teacher whose student becomes a leader. It's the mentor whose wisdom echoes in decisions made decades later. It's the parent whose values shape generations. Think about the people who've impacted your life most profoundly. Chances are it wasn't their possessions or achievements that mattered. It was their presence, their wisdom, their belief in you. That's legacy. Building a legacy requires intentionality. It means asking, who am I pouring into? What am I modeling? What will remain when I'm gone? It's not morbid, it's clarifying. It helps you focus on what truly matters. You're building a legacy right now, whether you realize it or not. The question is, what kind? Practical takeaway: identify one person you can intentionally invest in this month, a mentee, a younger colleague, a family member. Schedule time to share wisdom, encouragement, or simply your presence. Leadership begins the moment you take responsibility for your own life. The ideas we've explored today, identity, potential, vision, character, stewardship, and legacy, aren't abstract theories. They're practical frameworks for living with intention. They challenge you to move beyond passivity, beyond reaction, and into purposeful action. You don't need a title to lead. You need clarity. You need courage. You need the willingness to cultivate what's within you and use it for something greater than yourself. The question isn't whether you're capable. The question is whether you're willing. Take one idea from today and apply it this week. Start small, stay consistent, and watch what begins to shift, not just in your circumstances, but in who you're becoming. The leader within you is already there. It's time to take charge.